Look at this. Wow. But first step really very important that we do this. It has to melt perfectly. That's basically it. We got our veggies ready. We got our meat. We have the white wine. Here later is the beef stock. Starts to look melted. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it starts really to give a lot of fluid away. And that is basically where I would say it's time to add the veggies. So let's do that. We're gonna let it simmer. a while, like 10 minutes. What you basically need is just the veggies to be soft. No browning, no roasting, no nothing. But it has to be softened up and have that gentle touch to it. So it's we call it blanchering. Which basically means that you don't roast it, you don't boil it, but you give it until it's soft and glossy. And I use full can of tomatoes. A full can of these. Concentrated tomato. Let's get a spoon because it's so concentrated. So we get this blended. Starting to look real here. Sure. Because now this is ready. We put it here. Because the next step is to add the meat. And so, in order to make everything in the right order, you have to add the meat now when you have added the veggies and not when you have added the tomato. This is very important because you will never get this roasted if you add the tomato, but you can do it with the veggies. So we're going to do that now. We add the broth. It's a quarter liter and one of these cubes. So we add this and the quarter liter. We wait until that cube has dissolved. We can help it because then it's time for our passata. It takes time and patience. But if you want to make a real Bolognese, you gotta have patience. You cannot do this in a rush day, but what you can do is you can make a huge portion and you can actually freeze it. I think this cube actually is dissolved now in the stock, now in the water, so we get our beef stock. So now it's time for adding our homemade passata. Smells so good. If you don't add tomato, it's not Bolognese. So at this point, we have added almost everything to our Bolognese, except for the milk. The milk we are going to add halfway through the simmering, which we are going to start in a moment. It's going to do this on the lid and on a lower temperature. Medium low, I would say. That's simmering. Small, tiny, gentle bubbles everywhere, and this is all. Remember to stir regularly, and just keep an eye on that fluid, the fluid level. It should not go down too brutally. It should not become too dry, but as I can see here, it's not going to be a problem. But if it happens, add more of this beef stock. That's all. So 2 hours like this, regularly stirring, and basically just leave it alone. Yeah, so let's add the broth, the stock. So we give it 1.5 deciliters. I just added a half of these cubes, what I showed you in the beginning. It's important that the sauce during all this is still pretty thin. It should not be too solid yet. It will come later. But since we are halfway, it's also time for the milk to be added. So we give it 2 deciliters of milk. This should be whole milk, not skimmed or anything. It's a 3.5% of fat. And there is no way around it. If you want to do it the Bologna way, it's essential. They don't use cream. So milk is giving a creamy but not too creamy sauce, or ragu, excusez-moi. It also gives it a little bit more light color. Still brown red. So another hour of simmering. And I have added some temperature on the stove. I increased it to 80% because this is the final stages of our Bolognese. As you can see, we have nice and creamy sauce. It's really, really fantastic. It's really where we're supposed it to be now. It's the perfect mix. It's perfect consistency, texture, you name it. It has it all. And I can smell it. That is absolutely right where it's supposed to be. It's very creamy and still loose enough to mix with that pasta you're gonna use for serving. So what I did, like I just said, increased temperature. As you can see, it's collected. It really looks perfect. This is the moment we start thinking about putting salt. Wow, it's already almost there. But of course it needs salt. So I give it. This looks more than it is. It's coarse salt, but it looks more brutal than it is. I would say that I just gave it about a teaspoon normal salt. Wow. Oh my god. Wow. Oh, you really get the taste of the meat and the veggies. Everything is there. Full ragu, not just a simple sauce. No, this is really a masterpiece. Not because I made it, but because the Italians figured it out. I have to compliment them. Perfect. Perfect texture. Absolutely right. Not too thin, not too thick. Yeah, and steam all over the place. Fantastic. I'm professional, you remember. Our dish today it is spaghetti. So, so then, now look at this. Wow. The real Bolognese Ragù from Bologna in Italy. And alas, of course, what else? Yeah, I know with this variation, it's spaghetti. But I think you can imagine that it's tagliatelle and not very expensive dish to make. It just takes a long time to make it. So this is it, guys. Lars's Bolognese, as promised.